Hi everyone, we are in episode 5 of the Breaking Barriers series by the SAICE Durban branch, and I am honored to be your host for this engaging interview series. Today we have a phenomenal guest with us. We have Sonja Grobler, the Territory Sales Manager at AfriSam, a leading cement manufacturing company. In today's episode, we'll learn from Sonja's experience and insights and her perspective as a prominent female leader in an industry that's typically or historically being dominated by men. Her journey is definitely a testament to the power of breaking barriers and promoting diversity and equity in the workplace. We'll discuss her unique approach to leadership, her contributions to fostering inclusivity, and we'll chat about AfriSam's strategies in achieving excellence and equity. This promises to shed light on the transformative impact that strong, diverse leadership can have on driving positive change within the cement manufacturing sector of engineering. Sonja, welcome to our interview series. We are so glad that you could join us and share your experiences with us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Okay, so for me, it was quite a different journey. I was working for a few years. I didn't have any tertiary education. I mean, I did have my matric in that, and then I decided to spread my wings, and I went overseas for a few years, doing au pair work, and then also in the UK. Nothing really career opportunities, and just work to live. And then when I came back from overseas, I got in touch with one of my neighbors who told me that there's a position in the sales department at the quarry, which was the last option I've ever thought of, probably be frowned upon. My brother and his friends used to go fishing in the quarry next door, that's which obviously I'll be fined for if I ever had to do that now again. So I started working here as an internal salesperson, and almost 20 years ago, by the way. Before AfriSam, I used to get bored quite a lot at the work that I had. Nothing stimulated me. But with AfriSam, and I can vouch for that, every single day is different, and you get to learn new things every day about yourself, about the company, about other people. So I think that's been the exciting thing for me working for AfriSam, from learning about quarrying and ready mix and how to handle yourself with very stressful situations. Although the call center, I was working from 7 in the morning till 3:30, which was great. However, in that few hours, you sat and you worked, and it was extremely stressful. I remember when I had the interview with my previous manager, when I started, one of the interview questions was, what do you do after a stressful day? And I said to her, well, I go for a run, because our whole family runs. And she said to me, thank God, she is so tired of people telling her that they go for a bath. So no, I'm definitely not the bathy kind of person after a stressful day. So it's been a very exciting journey. So from internal sales, and then so we talk about the challenges. So I was with AfriSam for a year, got married, then 2 years later had my first baby, and then another 2 years later, another 2 babies. In that time, I ran 2 Comrades marathons, I did 2 oceans. I remember doing long runs in the morning for about 2-3 hours, coming to work 7 o'clock, plonking myself down and ready to start the day. That's just always been the way that I've approached life, I guess that's how I can handle the stress. Also with the challenges, like I said, having to get up in the middle of the night with babies, sick children, sometimes your children being in hospital, you're not able to see to them. I had to ask my friends to sit in hospital while I come to work, because I just felt so responsible. Being in a call center, when one person is not here, you can feel the stress. Those were challenges, and it's still, now my kids are teenagers, and now you have to remember their assignments, what time they going to be at what sports event, organize, all these different things to make their lives happen. And in the meantime, also having to negotiate millions and billions of deals for AfriSam. So I guess the combination or the balance of all that, made it really worth it. There's sometimes where I feel that it's a bit much, but the next day you get up and there's a new challenge, and you get some good days and bad days. But I would say, if I have to sum it up, mostly it's been very exciting. Well, I think for myself, I think it's to always be humble and to be willing to learn, especially since I don't have a degree or any engineering background. It's very important to get down to what the business is all about, knowing what the quarry does, knowing if the guys tell you that there's a breakdown, not to be pushy when it's already in a very, sensitive time. If there's breakdowns, nobody likes that. So not to be demanding, but also be demanding, because at the end of the day, I have to make sure that AfriSam gets the sales, which is what pays our salaries at the end of the day. So it's sometimes difficult to be that woman, being emotional. I mean, we have hormones that we don't have control over, and but I just think for me, it was always to be willing to learn. Go down into the quarry, go down to the site. I think it's quite amazing that a lot of the times when I meet customers, they think, oh, here's a woman now again, what does she know? But when you start to talk with them, they actually sit down and like, okay. And one of the biggest things that I find, and some people think it's funny, but it's not really, is to get men to talk to each other. So, for example, I'll have a customer that's irate, and all he really needed to do is to speak to the batcher or to the person in the office who's normally a male. So all I do is I pick up the phone, I phone that person, and I make them talk to each other, and then they think that I've done something, but meantime they could have done it themselves. So I think a woman has that softer touch to them, where men might blow their tops and we just get in between. So it's quite difficult sometimes not to want to blow my top as well, because I'm still human. I also make a point of, you have to gain their respect. So if a customer asks you for something, act on it. If they're asking for a price, make sure it gets delivered. Attention to details, not making them wonder. So those are all things that I can do. I don't have to be a man or woman, but that's at the end of the day what they want as a service. So whether you be a man or woman, make sure that you get their respect by doing what you've promised and what they've asked for. I guess it's what I've been harping on all along is, number one, to humble myself, not to always have the answers, but to listen to what my colleagues are saying. More often than not, when a customer phones to complain about something, you tend to immediately think, oh, we did something wrong, or that person did something wrong. But I try and take the time to call that individual person where the problem comes from, and more often than not, there is 2 or 3 sides to the story. So I would say my leadership style is to listen to my colleagues before I act. But that's an ongoing, mission to accomplish every day. Okay, so currently I think a lot of what I'm doing is, I've been here for 19 years, so I'm not saying that I know everything, I definitely don't, but I think I've gone through quite a few courses that AfriSam has given us. I have mentorship from all my managers. I also do believe that it's very important to work with all the people. For example, I am in external sales, but I've got the internal sales, I've got the dispatchers, I've got the administrators, and for me to make sure that the communication from my side is absolutely perfect, because without them I can't do anything, from asking assistance for doing a quote, to getting that product out on the road, to making sure that there's contact personnel on sites and that. So that's where I also do some mentoring to some of my colleagues. I don't, when they ask me a question, I don't just answer it. I try and see how I can help them understand my world as well. For example, the production, they might just think, oh, this salesperson is just going out to see customers, what a nice life. But once they understand that the negotiations and the competition and all of those things play such a big role. So basically, yes, for me, it's to make sure everybody understands each other's roles and how we have to support each other. Okay, so this information is not readily available to myself because it doesn't really, sit with my role as a salesperson. However, before we came to this interview, I did sit down with Theolan, our regional manager, and he showed me how it gets laid out in our social labour plan from top structure to bottom, the quantities and the diverse people that have to be working for AfriSam. Okay, so AfriSam has an array of women in mining. From executive level, we've got 2 ladies, and then middle management, we have quite a lot, and then up to non-management level. That includes all aspects of the business, from ladies driving dumpers and ladies in sales like myself, and also some ladies in the technical department. So we abide by our inclusive policies and procedures when we're hiring candidates. We offer learnerships and internships and bursaries aimed at the underrepresented groups. Okay, so with us being a corporate, we have developed and abide to what we call the AfriSam way, where one of the areas of focus is building credibility and conducive climate, which talks to gender diversity among other things. One of our core values are also people, where we act with integrity and respect. Okay, so we have, like I mentioned before, bursaries, internships, learnerships, and study assistance in line with the social labour plans. We further have programs such as engineers in training to develop bench reserves for operational and support requirements. It's actually quite a natural process. Like you can see, I don't really have all that information, but in working with the people at AfriSam, they have a way of choosing people that can work together. They do it, but I know there is things in place whereby it just all works together, and you don't ever feel that somebody's been preferenced because of their background or the color. I think they choose specifically to the work that they have to do.
Okay, thank you so much, Sonja, for talking to us today and sharing all of your experience. Your journey it's so eye-opening how being on a completely different path can lead you down to a place where you find your calling, and you find joy in your work. I can see the way you talk about your work and your company that you work for. You're so passionate about it, and we're really excited to hear your story and happy to have connected with you and learned from you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.